Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. It's Rose's Randoms, and this is gonna be part 2 of the review slash analysis of The Silent Sister by Diane Chamberlain. So last time we left off, Lisa was on her way to Philadelphia with Tom Kyle, and he dropped her at Philadelphia, and then she took a train from there to go to Alexandria, Virginia, where she would live for several years. And when she gets there, she goes to the beach. Well, she originally goes to a hotel to find a room, but there's no rooms, and so the man tells her to go to the beach to wait like everyone else. And when she's at the beach, she meets a woman there. The woman introduces herself and then goes along her merry way, and we don't think we're gonna see this woman again. So the next day she goes back to the hotel, where she's lucky enough that she finds a room, and she stays in that room for a few days, and then she happens upon the woman again, and the woman offers her a room in her own house, or in her own home slash apartment. It's not really clear where she's living, but the woman offers her a space in her own room to live with her, and she ends up living with this woman for several years. And originally, as a reader, you're gonna be like, why are you living with this woman? This seems sus. Who's gonna do that? But she's in a sus predicament. She's in a very awkward predicament, and she kind of has to take what she can get. And so she lives with this woman for several years, and she ends up going to look for a job. And when she goes to look for a job, she ends up working in this CD place, you know, where they sell CDs and stuff like that. And she makes friends with the store's owner, and they become very good friends. His name is Grady. There is a man who constantly comes into the store. He's an older man. I forget what his name is, but he's an older man, and over the years, she also becomes very good friends with him. And originally their encounter was that he was looking for some music that was some type of orchestral music. And mind you, when her father sent her away, he told her that you should never pick up a violin again, because people are going to be suspicious of you. Don't do anything that is going to make you look suspicious. And so when she hears this man asking for this music, she immediately blurts out like, oh, I know who you're looking for. And he's like, really? You know what I'm looking for? And she's like, yeah, I think I can find it in the back. And she immediately regrets this, because she's like, oh my gosh, what have I done? This is going to reveal me. But it turns out it doesn't. And she actually just becomes really good friends with this man. We also find out throughout the story, and I promise you this is relevant, because I thought that it wouldn't be, and I was like, why are we mentioning this? And halfway through the story, I kind of remembered it, and I was like, why is this relevant? But then something happens further on, or something just dawns on me further on, and I'm like, oh, this is why this was relevant. So we find out at some point earlier on in the story that I forgot to mention, that Riley was actually dating a man who was separated from his wife, and the man had 2 children. And so when her father died, she actually broke off this relationship, because she felt as though the man was not going to divorce from his wife, even though he said that he was going to divorce from his wife. And so she was like, you know, I'm just not gonna be a part of this. I'm not gonna sit in between something where I think that you're still holding on to. And so she leaves him. And so, random tidbit, but that's important for later on, okay? Well, we are taken back to Riley trying to figure out all that is going on with her sister, and what's this big mystery about her sister. She finds out about a woman that Riley was actually practicing violin with at the time that she passed away. And so Riley goes to visit this woman whose name is Katerina Thoreau, and she expects that she's going to find out information from this woman, and really all the woman tells her is that Stephen Davis, her original violin teacher, was very upset that she had gone away to practice with somebody else, because it had ruined her. So essentially, she finds out no new information from this encounter, and she's highly upset about it because she literally took a flight to go see this woman and she finds out nothing. So after this encounter, Jade goes back home and she continues to try and find out information about her sister. We go back in time back to Lisa, who has changed her name to Jade instead of Ann Johnson, which is the name that her father wanted her to change her name to. But anyways, she changes her name to Jade, and we see Jade kind of grow into as a person throughout all of this. And we see Jade go through college, realize that she wants to pursue music education, but then she can't play a violin. But then she eventually just gives into it, and she goes and she auditions for the music department at her school. But then when she's gone through all of college, she realizes that a teacher needs to get fingerprinted and all of this stuff. And she realizes that she can't do all of that because she's run away. She's trying to hide her identity. And so essentially she doesn't even become a music teacher. And so at some point, that old man who she befriended, he comes into the store that she works at, and he has a young woman with her whose name is Celia, and Celia is her granddaughter. And it's clear that these two hit it off, and eventually they get into a relationship with each other. Throughout time, she never tells Celia or the grandfather what is really going on with her because she has to keep that all under wraps. And so throughout the time that Celia is there, she's going to the grandfather's house and spending time with the both of them, and they play instruments. She actually plays a fiddle for the first time, to which she's not that great at because she's used to playing violin, but she realizes Celia is really good at their instrument. The grandfather is really good as well. And so at some point during all of this, a man comes into the shop and he shows a picture to Grady, the shop owner, and the grandfather, who was also in there at the time. Jade is in the back working, so she's not present in the main store area. And the man shows them a picture and he's like, do you know this person? And they're like, no, I don't know this person. And he's like, oh, she might be older now, so she might look different, may have changed her hair. Somebody outside said that she works here. And they're staunch in saying, no, we don't know who that person is. And they look at each other and they're like, we don't know who that is. And so the man leaves and he's like, well, if you see her, please find me and let me know. She's wanted for murder. And so at that point, Jade comes out and they're like, please, just tell me it wasn't true. So they know, they've recognized the photo and they know it's her, but they're trying to protect her. And so she tells them, no, I didn't do it. Please believe me. And they're like, that's all I needed to hear. And they tell her, go. And so Jade goes and she packs up her stuff and she bolts it out of there, and she goes to Celia's house, wherever Celia lives, not in that state, obviously. And she goes to Celia's house, and there she pretty much starts a life with Celia, and she tells Celia everything. And the story tells us that she tells Celia even the things that she didn't tell her father. So at this point, we know that there are things, as readers, we thought we were privy to a bunch of stuff, but apparently we don't actually know everything. And so that's now about a little more than halfway through the story that we're left at. And so at this point, I'm very curious to learn, what is it that I don't know? And I started to wonder about certain things. For example, what was the reason that she actually murdered Stephen Davis? Because we're told that she murdered him because she ruined her chances of getting into Juilliard. But what if that wasn't really the reason? Even though I already kind of thought about that throughout the story. Now, since I'm privy to her telling Celia things that she never even told her father, now I'm wondering, what were those things? Like, what possibly could she not have told her father? And that has to be one of those things. So yeah, guys, that's where I'm gonna leave it at. If you like this video, please give it a thumbs up. Comment down below what you thought about what happened just now. Please subscribe to my channel. Bye.